communities that have suffered oppression, that they also have joy and, strength. I approached Michael last year and I told her that we were preparing this concert with the idea of dreams and visions as a metaphor. She said, well, in fact, now that you say that, I very recently put up a Facebook post that is somewhat poetic about my journey, and people commented to that Facebook post and said, you should think about setting this to music.
Had a lot of support and a lot of people just very much rooting for me in my life as a composer, which I it timed. I don't think this is a coincidence. I became a full-time composer when I came out full-time as trans also. I think that, finding that peace within also allowed me to find that, that dream that had been elusive for so long of being a composer. That gave me that strength, that inner strength as everything lined up. So I just felt like it was time to announce it to the world, but without, really um, uh, just point blank saying, I'm getting a surgery, it's very exciting, that kind of thing, and then click send. It just is so much more to me. It's so life changing, and it wasn't just a single sentence kind of post. I wanted people to understand who loved me, who cared about me, including family, who, I might not necessarily, talk about this, with openly, just what was going on and the significance of it in my life. And so that's how it came out on, in that Facebook post.
So we sing this piece every week, and I have to say that on the days in between rehearsals, this music just stays with me. It lives in my bones and it's in my mind everywhere I go and everything I do. I find it incredibly moving and spiritual.
This is such a huge honor to be part of sharing your story in this way. It's a very moving experience. I feel like every time we sing it, I become that more close to the story and more moved and connected.
So this is one of the most unique and meaningful pieces I've sung with any of my choirs. And I know a lot of us are told in many places in our lives that who we are will cut us off from happiness and love. And every time I sing this, I think that is not the case.
I'm so glad that, I listened to what was right for me. And I'll say right now that, my path is unique to me, and there are other people that need to choose other paths. And, I was very fortunate to have alternatives and have options, and a privilege to take the path that I did, as hard as it was at certain times, and as much as there were, roadblocks and difficulties along the way. One of the things also that was told to me early on was, cross each bridge as you get to it. Don't worry about the future, So it's like, even though I hadn't transitioned, I had all these life moments that I'm so grateful for, which, I would have had other beautiful life moments if I had transitioned earlier. But I risked losing these, or not having these. And for me, I can look back on those things and say that's the best part of my life. That was the music that was surrounding those words. But also, it's not just about me. It's about the people around me, And it's also about the fact that I am given the time to be able to find myself. Not everybody has that, luxury to be given 50 years to find themselves. So yeah, so it's like, oh, well, that person didn't get to transition till 50. I got to transition.
Yeah.
And, I look around me, and Zoe's there, and Kira's there, and Melissa's there, and so many beautiful things are there, and you're there, and the choir's there, I mean, I was in a different field, before that. I was in related field. I was a teacher, you know, so that was a beautiful thing too. But this was my dream, you know, to compose. And so, like, you know, by really finding that inner peace and just being able to, like, you know, have this beautiful family around me and be doing what I love, which is composing, which is talking with choirs and just sharing in this amazing community, you know, it really culminates into those, you know, those final 5 or 6 pages. And I you know, I know it's, how do I put this? The first part is very challenging in this, the first 3 verses. You know, this last section might be a little bit more approachable, but it's what came out. It's where the music was. It's what the words, you know, told me the music should be, you know, and so that's how it came out.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say was, you know, I appreciate that you sort of bring the choir into this experience, you know, and I think when it's at its best, that is what the choral community can be, is a community of belonging, you know, where everybody is included and able to share their voices together. And we know the power of that. We know what happens in that buzz in the choral ensemble and that feeling of safety and, you know, enveloping warmth and community and family that happens. So I think you're right that we arrive at the end and it becomes so sort of protective and joyous and just sparkling, you know, just all the beautiful things happen in that in that final chapter, which, you know, I think is choral music at its best, right?
I love singing this piece because not only is it incredibly interesting and challenging from a musical perspective, but the themes of journeys in life, transitions, the LGBTQ experience relate a lot to my experience with my partner and the evolution of our relationship.
I feel really proud to be a part of giving voice to the trans experience. As a member of the LGBTQ community, it's really an honor to be a part of sort of giving life to music that allows the trans voice to be part of a canon of choral music.
I could add too that there's a time and a place for everything under heaven, I think. You know, and so you know, so my time came later, and you know, and that very end, after the choir sings time and repeats time, and I put that in there, that take my hand, because that's what I feel, well, you have done, and the choir has done, and then, you know, in the story, you know, Melissa did. I don't know how my story would have gone if it wasn't for Melissa, who said, take my hand.
Thank you so much for taking this time to talk with us. Very excited to present it with our communities, and we hope you all come to hear the concerts and you know, and become part of the journey from your own space as well. So thank you, Michael, so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Rebecca.